Unmute. Okay. I believe I am recording. Share screen. Okay. So this is our SharePoint site that we created. Just get into both of these here. Okay. So each member will have their own list, as we said. So these are all the departments that we have from you guys, TSMT, OWT, RCVT, SVT, testing, cyber. I made the centralized list called destination because I went through a couple problems with some, so I just made a new list. So here, let's just open this list here. This could be modified a little bit too. You don't need to make it into a list. I figured out you can have you can use Power Automate to make it into files, but I figured a list would be better since you guys kind of work in Excel formats and PowerPoint formats. But if you still had PowerPoint formats, I'm pretty sure you can use Power Automate to automate the PowerPoints, but it is trickier. So I just went with the list to demonstrate how Power Automate works and what everything can do. So this is the master list. As you can see, there's a department, a status, start, finish. The status is the only thing that is not automated in this list, but it's kind of like a guide, I feel like, if you wanted to update or delete something. But the main part I wanted to focus on was being able to filter by department. You could go filter by, and then it'll get everything you need from that department. And then all these dates are modified in a department list. So a department list would look something like this. Say project final presentation. Put a start date. And these are automatically generated to good and the department. You just save, it'll list its columns. And then notice this is the Power Automate flow. So each department's gonna have their own flow. And basically what the flow will do is open up the one that we just, this department that we added. So these flows can be modified, obviously, but this is pretty much when an item is created or modified in a department list, it'll get items from the destination list. And the most important thing is it'll query a unique identifier, which you can see, this is the unique identifier, the source ID. And when you create an item or modify an item in a department list, the Power Automate system will create its own unique identifier. And it filters, it basically checks if that identifier is there. As you can see, you can put entries into a folder if you wanted to, if you want to organize the SharePoint site a little bit more. But for this demonstration, I just made a list view. And basically it's just checking if the length of the source identifier is 0 or not, or if there is an item there or not. If it's equal to 0, then you have to create a new item, which basically just fetches all the input that you put into creating that new item. And if it doesn't exist, or if it does exist, you have to update that item, whatever you need to update. So it'll go ID, title, start, and it'll retrieve whatever was updated. As you see, the status, I had trouble changing the status value. I put it as a choice input, and I'm pretty sure if you put it as a single line of text in the column field, that it would update accordingly. But I felt like just to highlight what the status value was in your Excel, it was like highlighted. So I wanted to make it visually appealing. Okay, let's check. It does take a little bit of time. Yeah, 1 minute ago. Okay, boom. So here it is. Project final presentation. Project final presentation. Start, finish. So say you wanted to change, say it needs to be changed. You're like, me update this, gonna notify, notify the department that it needs to be updated. So the department will be like, okay, project presentation needs to be updated to final project completion. And let's just change the start dates and end dates to 16. And we can make this, let's put this so it's an actual date, 24. And just to show it more obviously, April 24th and August 18th. So as you can see, it changed in the department value, but the Power Automate flow will also completely change it into the master list. It does take a while. Doesn't take a while. It takes like 2 minutes, 2 minutes. So you can just refresh. Two seconds ago. Okay. That's finally updated. See, project final completion 4/24, August 18th. And it was able to do this because it found its unique identifier. That's pretty much the automation flow process of collecting data. I mean, there's plenty of steps involved in this. You could, as I said, you can put items into folders. You can add more filter data into the list. So you could kind of sort data when it's entered in according to its department. You want it fitted in the way the Excel sheet was fitted instead of looking and filtering data like this. You can also filter by title. You can filter by the milestones. You can filter by anything else. Just made it into like a list view instead of organizing it by certain groups or departments. But that's pretty much the automation process, the Power Automate process. And I'll give a detailed email description on the instructions on all this. But yeah, it's pretty straightforward. As you can see, there's a flow for each 8 departments. And the automation to the Excel file to put it into Milestone Pro visualization wasn't really working the way we wanted to in Milestone Pro, but a template could be made just exporting a list per week for a weekly report, say, and you can have your list, how it comes up, and you just build like a template off this list and then feed it back. And that's kind of the idea we had closing out the project. I hope you guys enjoyed the automation process. I mean, it was cool. It was kind of cool working in Power Automate. Power Automate does a lot of cool stuff. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll provide you the instructions to this automate flow, and hopefully you can sign our project completion form. Thank you.